The Thursday, June 6th, 2024. It's presented by Orland and Cohen Orthopedic Group. Give them a call at 516-874-4543. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined by Vinny Tickets. WizKid Vinny will join us later for this day in sports history, and we'll talk about the Mets and the Yankees having big days yesterday. Our sponsor spotlight today is Orland and Cohen. Vinny, first of all, good morning.
Good morning, Peter. You're on a streak, 5 in a row.
Absolutely. Orland and Cohen's subspecialty focus means their doctors have the specialized expertise and access to the latest techniques so their patients have better outcomes. Dr. James Pacey is a friend of the program. He's been on the show a couple of times. They do a great job there at Orland and Cohen.
Absolutely. And it's always nice to have someone that, you know, we know nothing about the industry or the field, the medical field, and to have a true professional on the show, someone that can really speak to different subjects, different injuries, and really just a great guest when we have them on.
And the thing that's great about Orland and Cohen is that they have doctors who specialize in different things. So the specialties are foot and ankle, elbow, hand and upper extremities, hip, general orthopedics, joint replacement, knee, pediatrics, shoulder, spine, neck, and back, and sports medicine. And the reason why that's very important is because, you know, a number of years ago, I broke my hip. So not every orthopedist.
How'd you do that, by the way?
Playing touch football with the kids at Jones Beach.
Okay. So
you
you broke it on sand?
No, I actually broke it. We were in the playground on concrete.
I was going to tell you should start drinking more milk.
Well, there were a number of reasons why I should have been doing what I was doing, but I did it and all healed up. But the point I'm making is that not every orthopedic surgeon handles hip injuries like that. So you have to go to someone who specializes in that. And that's the great thing about Orland and Cohen. They have a doctor for every specialty. And that's very important when you're going to an orthopedic group.
Yes, very true. And locations all over Long Island.
Absolutely. Well. Check them out at orlandcohen.com. And again, Dr. Pacey has been a great friend of the program. We had him on in the aftermath of the Aaron Rodgers injury. We just had him on recently. So they've been good friends of the program, and we look forward to continued a relationship with them in the weeks and months to come. We're going to talk about this more when the regular show starts, and we welcome in our radio audience. But another big day for the Yankees and the Mets yesterday. The Yankees have won 2 in a row against the Twins, a big 9-5 win, and the Mets finish off a sweep. Boy, they have been able to rebound from problems this year. They had that losing streak. They won a couple against Arizona, lost a couple, and then they go to Washington. They sweep the series.
Right. I think they're 5 out of 7.
Yeah.
The last 7 games, and that's a little bit of a run. Now they're going over the pond now.
Absolutely. They go to London to go play the Philadelphia Phillies on Saturday and Sunday. Each team gives up a home game to go there to play the series. And for the Yankees, I mean, just another offensive juggernaut last night. Aaron Judge drove in 5 runs. He had a big 3-run triple, had a chance to go to the game last night. It was a fun atmosphere at Yankee Stadium. So the Yankees keep on keeping on. They try to get the brooms out again today against the Twins.
Yes, sir. Left fielder actually misplayed that ball.
Well, you know what? I thought for a moment it would have been a double and an error, but that ball kicked off the fence.
It caromed in the corner.
And I think the official scorer, whoever that might have been, was just wanted to see Aaron Judge get a triple, I think. Listen, I don't think you could have argued either way they ruled that.
No.
But I think it's a home game. It's Aaron Judge. You give him the triple.
I'm not taking a stance against Aaron Judge.
Well, we're going to talk more about that. We'll take your phone calls at 631-451-1039. Sports Bash coming up.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Falcone Law Firm. If you need to speak to an attorney, call them at 631-607-4LAW. That's 631-607-4529. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Visit their website at martylyonsfoundation.org. Check out that website. The big golf outing is coming up this summer, so you're going to want to check that out. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing and production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509 8277. Good morning. I'm Peter Schwartz. Good morning, Vinny Tickets.
Good morning, Peter.
I'm trying to keep the greetings on a roll here every day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're on a streak.
Yes.
Better than the Wiz.
Well, that's another story.
Yes.
And we'll see if he can make amends on Wednesday when we do it again. Stump the Wiz, that is. 631-451-1039 is the number to call to join the show. We can talk about the Yankees. We can talk about the Mets. But before we get to the flash with the breaking sports news this morning out of college and NBA basketball, Dan Hurley, the head coach at UConn, back-to-back national champions, talking to the Los Angeles Lakers, who are preparing a massive contract offer to Hurley. And first, one might wonder why Dan Hurley, who really has a chance to build, a dynasty there at UConn, if you don't want to already consider it a dynasty. But here's the issue. Here's why it would make sense almost for Hurley to leave now that he's got the back-to-back titles. The landscape of college basketball and college sports is completely different than what it was. Players are leaving every year. They're going from school to school. And while there's free agency in the NBA, there is some semblance of stability. If you sign a 4-year contract, you sign a 5-year contract, you generally will have some players together for a long period of time. And it's not, it's not the Charlotte Hornets. It's the Los Angeles Lakers.
Biggest name, one of the biggest names in basketball. And yes, with the advent of the NILs, with the advent of the transfer portal, the entire landscape has changed in college sports right now. So for him, although he is creating a dynasty right now, we know that, does have some great track record already, but there's always a time to sell, right?
Right.
And this may just be his time to sell and cash in.
You strike when the fire is hot.
Yes.
And Dan Hurley, if the reports we're hearing from ESPN this morning are correct, this is going to be a massive contract offer from the Lakers. And you would have to think that with that contract is going to come a certain amount of control. So,
yes,
because you wouldn't leave something really cool like you have at UConn if you're not going to have the control when you get to the NBA. So we'll keep an eye on that story. We'll take your phone calls, 631-451-1039. It's time for the Sports Bash Flash, brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash, and you get that great free dessert with your meal. We'll start in the Bronx, where the Yankees scored 4 runs in the first inning. They took a 4-0 lead on the Twins. In the 5th inning, Aaron Judge stepped to the plate with the bases loaded.
Castillo's pitch to Judge. It's line, base hit into left. That one's going all the way into the corner. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. Here comes Soto around third, having all kinds of trouble with the ball in left field. And to third goes Aaron Judge. And the Yankees have blown this one wide open.
That was Ricky Ricardo on WFAN. Aaron Judge drove in 5 runs as the Yankees beat the Twins 9-5 for their 7th straight win and their 18th in the last 22 games. Now to Washington, where the Mets had the brooms out.
3-2 to Terren. Swinging a high fly ball deep to center. Back goes Young onto the track at the wall. He jumps. It's gone. A home run. How do you like that? Luis Terren's with his 2nd home run of the game.
That was Howie Rose on WCBS 880. Mets finish off a 3-game sweep. They beat up on the Nationals 9-1. Now they're off to London to take on the Phillies Saturday and Sunday. Mets closer Edwin Diaz to make a rehab appearance, pitching 1 inning tonight for the Brooklyn Cyclones. The NBA Finals begin tonight in Boston. The Celtics host the Mavericks in Game 1. Jason Tatum says the Celtics have a mission statement.
Right, we only hang NBA championship banners, right? 17 of them. Some of the greatest players ever played this game wore this uniform. And, all of us are honored to, follow in their footsteps.
Tip-off tonight is at 8:30. WNBA tonight, the Liberty at the Atlanta Dream at 7:30. So again, 631-451-1039 is the number to call. Have to tell you, Vinny had a great time at the Yankee game last night and had great seats, sat in the middle level last night, just past third base. And I know our people that are watching on YouTube and Facebook are getting a shot of a picture I took at the game last night. Now, I always...
What was that, like section 229?
228. 228. Fantastic seats. And I have to tell you, a lot of times I always wax poetic about ticketbash.com because you always provide great seats at great prices. So if you look at the shot of the picture that we're looking at right now, it's a great visual, but I did not get those tickets from ticketbash.com last night. And no offense,
Cheating
but
on me.
No. Got those tickets from CherylBash.com last night. So Cheryl got the tickets, surprised me a couple of days ago, tickets from her company. We had a great time at the game last night.
Cheryl, we have to talk after the show. Taking food out of my kid's mouth.
No. It was great. We had a wonderful time. It looked like a full house. I mean, there were some scattered empty seats, and I know the resale, the secondary market prices last night, you would think, for a Wednesday night game against Minnesota would not be that high, but the demand was crazy for that game last night. Juan Soto basketball jerseys.
Yes, there you go.
Didn't get them though because we hit major traffic on the way. We were not one of the first 18,000 people. But they were good looking jerseys. We'll see. Maybe I have some tricks up my sleeve. We'll see if we can figure that out. 631-451-1039. Let's go to Glenn in Flushing. Glenn, you're up first today on Sports Bash.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Peter.
What's happening, Glenn?
Oh, I'm a happy St. John's fan this morning.
Yes, I know you are.
This is true. Yeah, I love it. I think it's not a big deal because compared to years past, Danny Hurley, it's like he's coaching professionals already. They get paid, so it's not like a big transition. And I just hope for him it works out. I mean, as a St. John's fan, this is great news. And before, if I can get your answer, I just also want to make a Met point real quick.
Sure. For you, anything.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it. What do you guys think? Anytime I hear like a college coach is going to the pros, I'm like, it's only going to last a couple of years. But Danny Hurley's pretty special, I think.
Yeah, listen, this is not – I don't think this is – like if Nick Saban was still coaching Alabama, if he didn't retire football, and I think he was probably finished with coaching anyway. But if he was younger, like let's say Danny Hurley younger, and he was so upset at the end of his tenure with what was going on in college sports, he might have, maybe looked at another chance in the NFL because he was a failure with the Dolphins and then went back to college football.
Right,
in this case, Danny Hurley is young enough that he doesn't have to stay with all the craziness that is college basketball right now. I think this would be a great move for him, Vinny, right? And listen, again, it's not a run-of-the-mill franchise. It's not going to the Charlotte Hornets. You're going to the Los Angeles Lakers. So to me,
premier organization.
The money is going to be great. Yeah. You're going to get the
exposure.
Right. You're going to coach LeBron James and some really good players.
That may be the only drawback.
Well, but listen, here's the thing, Glenn, and you're a huge basketball fan. I don't think Dan Hurley goes to the Lakers without knowing he has some semblance of control over that roster.
Right. I'm sure he does. It's amazing, though, to think where he's gone from 3 years ago, and now here he is, 2 championships and a Laker offer. It's crazy.
It's nuts, and it's just the landscape we are in right now. It is such a different playing field. And Glenn, thank you so much for the phone call.
Thanks, Glenn.
Oh, wait a minute, Glenn, don't go anywhere. You said you wanted a Met point.
Yes, yeah, really.
I'm so sorry about that.
No problem at all. My son Stevie is off from school today, and we came up with a question. If you give a quick shout out to Stevie, who's watching on YouTube in the room next door.
Sure.
Stevie, this one's for you. We looked at the Mets roster, and every team must have one player for the All-Star team. I'm looking at Severino. What do you guys think?
I think Severino is an obvious choice for the Mets. No question. I mean, there's not – you look at the roster, and Glenn, thanks again for the phone call.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, Luis Severino's having a great season. I think he's got to be the Mets All-Star representative. If they only get one, I can't imagine them getting more than one, maybe two. Maybe they squeak out another one. I don't think so, but I think it's Severino.
Yeah. Listen, I always loved him as a pitcher.
Yeah. Listen, it was tough to see him leave the Yankees, but I think he needed a change, and maybe the Yankees needed a change, especially Luis Heel. King of the heel. King of the heel. There you go. I can't say I came up with that myself. There's a few people on social media that had that first. So no question about it. When we come back, we will have more on the Mets and the Yankees. We could talk more about Dan Hurley, more of your phone calls. We're going to tell you about tomorrow's show. It's a free ticket Friday. We've got a really good guest. We're going to tell you about it when we come back. We're also going to bring in WizKid Vinny for this day in sports history. Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com, is coming right back. Stay with us on Facebook and YouTube for a word from the Embassy Diner and more content coming up during the break. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, back during our break from radio. We're still with you on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be welcoming back our radio audience in just a moment. Thanks to our friends at the Embassy Diner for their great support, the great food, the great desserts. Don't forget, mention Sports Bash and get that free dessert with your meal. In about a minute, we're going to welcome back our radio audience. We're going to take more of your phone calls at 631-451-1039, and we will take your calls. We've got a big show tomorrow, Vinny. We've got Free Ticket Friday tomorrow. I know you're scouring the databases to see what our tickets are going to be tomorrow. You can hold the thought until the show comes back in a few seconds, but that's a big thing tomorrow. And we have a very special guest, and we're going to spill the beans on that in just a moment. So we have a big Friday show coming up tomorrow.
Big, huge.
I mean, it's just, we have WizKid Vinny with Stump the Wiz is always the big segment every week, but I think we've got a chance tomorrow with tomorrow's show. I think it could be a landmark show for Sports Bash Media tomorrow.
That's what I want to hear, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, we're just constantly finding ways to keep making everything better, and I think tomorrow is going to be great. Not that the other shows are not great, but tomorrow is really going to be a good one. We are welcoming back our radio audience in just a few moments. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. 631-451-1039 is the number to call to join the show. It's Peter Schwartz. It's Vinny Tickets. And right now, before we get back to the phones and tell you about everything that's going on tomorrow, because we've got a big show coming up on a Friday tomorrow here on Sports Bash, it is time for This Day in Sports History. We welcome in the young man who... The Wiz, who got 2 out of 3 of the key Giant players yesterday in the Stump the Wiz segment. Congratulations again to Pete Petriccioni, who won the Giants Eli Manning autographed football. You've had some time to recover from yesterday, Wiz. Thinking back on it now, your thoughts on Stump the Wiz yesterday, and where things stand with you going forward here.
Just gotta do a bit more research, I guess.
Yeah.
I listen, I got the first name of him right, but I only got an initial, but it wasn't even a correct initial. So,
right.
so Joe Pisarcik, if you're watching this, I apologize.
Well, going into it, I knew you'd get Herman Edwards because that's obvious. He's the marquee name in that moment. The next thing I thought you'd have trouble with, I thought you'd have some trouble with the quarterback. I was 70-30 that you were going to get Larry Zonka because you have such a feel for sports history, Hall of Famers, all that stuff. I was 100% certain you were going to get Herman Edwards. I was about 70% sure you were going to get Larry Zonka. I knew you were going to have some difficulty because I think a lot of people would have difficulty with Joe Pisarcik.
Yeah, and you know what? I would have had a problem with Zonka.
You would have had a problem with Zonka.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known Zonka. Pisarcik, I knew it was always the Pisarcik-Edwards play, right? You don't really hear the name Zonka when that play comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's why
he was the one who got a hold of the football. Yes. But it was just, not to bring it up again yesterday, but it was just such a doomed play from the start. Take a knee. You're going to upset the Eagles and knocked them out of a playoff spot. In the meantime, they completely messed it up. But I thought you did a great job getting 2 out of the 3, but we congratulate Pete for winning the football.
Yeah, of course. But I want to talk about this day in sports history.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about
Change it up. Change it up, Wiz.
As we know, the Stanley Cup is going to be coming on Saturday between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. But I want to talk about a Stanley Cup that happened back in 2007. Remember that?
It didn't involve the Islanders, so I try to block those things out of my mind. But go ahead.
Well, this one's a pretty historic one. The Anaheim Ducks became the second team in the 90s expansion teams, like, the Sharks and whatnot, to win after the Tampa Bay Lightning. The first team in the Western Conference where they defeated the Ottawa Senators, a fellow 90s expansion era. So it was it was the first one where both teams were expansion teams in the 90s and they met each other in the Stanley Cup. And funny enough, the last time the Ducks made the Cup was in 2003, where they lost to the Devils, and the Senators just happened to win the President's Trophy that year. So there's a lot of interesting parallels. Also, this is the first ever time that a team in California won a Cup before the Kings, and this is also the first and so far only time since the 1967 Toronto Maple Leafs that a team in Ontario went to the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, the Senators made it there before.
Maple Leafs are waiting.
Still waiting. And the Senators.
That's really too bad.
Yeah, it is. But I want to talk about the wonderful players on those teams. We'll start out with the Ducks. They were held by captain and legendary New Jersey Devil Scott Niedermayer.
Yes.
Also was the Conn Smythe winner. And you also had other legends too. Like you had Chris Pronger on that team. You had Teemu Selanne on that team. And you also had Corey Perry, MVP. And he's going to be in his 5th Stanley Cup with 5 different teams now. So he was with the Ducks. Then he was also the Stars, the Canadiens, the Lightning, and now with the Oilers. And while the Senators didn't have as close to as many great star players, they did have one guy that is, since they came to the league in the 90s, not including the team that happened way beforehand, Daniel Alfredsson.
Yes. Oh, what a great player.
Daniel Alfredsson, captain of the Senators. In my opinion, he is the Ottawa Senators. And it was just a really, really interesting final. You don't really hear enough to talk about. But
no. And I'm sure back when that happened, when whoever the NHL network was back at that point, I think it was ABC had the final that year. I'd have to look back, but I'm sure the network executives were not thrilled with the Anaheim Ducks and the Ottawa Senators in the Stanley Cup final.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough sell to the major. I don't think the ratings for that Stanley Cup final were very good. But thank you, Wiz. That's a great
job.
day.
Thanks.
This day in sports history. No question about it. So we've been talking about it. We still have some time for your phone calls at 631-451-1039. Want to tell you about a big show tomorrow here on Friday here on Sports Bash. We've got a free ticket Friday. So yet? Have you gotten into the computer, into the databases to see?
Yes, I checked the databases. We're going to change it up a little bit.
We are?
We're going to change it up a little bit for tomorrow. Yes.
Do you want to divulge what it is?
No,
or?
I cannot do that yet. Leave them on the edge of their seats.
So you'll have to check our socials later on today. But we're going to be giving away tickets to something on the show tomorrow. But here's our big guest for tomorrow. He is a familiar voice and a face to New York baseball fans. He is now the television voice of the Los Angeles Angels, but specifically tomorrow, the voice of Apple TV, Major League Baseball coverage, former Mets radio announcer Wayne Randazzo. He'll be calling the Yankees-Dodgers game on Apple TV Plus tomorrow night, and he is going to join us at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning to talk about the Yankees-Dodgers game tomorrow. He's a great broadcaster, a great guy, and looking forward to talking to him tomorrow.
That's exciting. But I have to air this. I'm sorry. May not be the time. Last night I went to go watch the Yankee game. I go to the usual process. I says, I'll check. Yes. Then I go back. I check. Maybe they're on 11, right? I check there. No. And now I have to. Now I have to go and I have to stream. And I don't know, maybe because I'm an older guy, I'm not as familiar with this stuff.
Welcome to the club.
Literally, I'm not kidding. It took me a good 10, 12 minutes to find the channel, surf. I mean, my wife does it pretty good. She's pretty quick. A shout out to my wife. But I will say this. It's so frustrating. I'm an old school guy. Certain things I just like to be simple and easy.
Yeah.
7-0, 1-1, whatever it is, go to the channel. But no, and then it's spinning and spinning and spinning. So, but I wound up getting the game on.
Absolutely.
So.
By the way, it's always a productive show when both Cheryl and Adrian both get mentioned on the program. So that's always a great sports bash when that happens. But yes, you're right. It is tough sometimes. And first of all, the problem is, like, if you're watching two games on cable, you could be watching the Met game on SNY and the Yankee game on Yes. Now, one game, especially in our house, where you have fans of both teams.
Yes.
So if you're watching the Yankee game, they're the primary game. Now, the Yankees go to a commercial. You want to check in on the Mets. It's easy. You flip back and forth.
Well, you could click last. Right?
Last. You go back and forth. So in a
last.
situation like last night, you can't do that because the Yankees are on
the stream, go back to cable. Yeah.
So it's just the landscape that we're in right now. But we are looking forward to talking to Wayne Randazzo tomorrow. Apple TV's got the Yankees-Dodgers game tomorrow night. The Yankees-Dodgers series will be all national TV, but they did add local TV for tomorrow. So the game will be on Yes Network tomorrow night as well if you don't have Apple TV Plus. But they've got the game tomorrow, Apple. Saturday nights on Fox, Sunday nights on ESPN. And again, we talked about this earlier in the week. The ticket demand for this series with the Dodgers and the Yankees, two iconic teams, Shohei Ohtani coming into Yankee Stadium. The Yankees are on a roll. What's the ticket market like for this weekend?
Well, let's tell you this. The best value of the 3 days is Sunday. Actually, tomorrow's a pretty expensive game. Saturday's off the charts expensive to go to the game. And then the best value that you will find would be Sunday night, because Sunday night you go to the Bronx at 7 o'clock, game's over. By the time you get to the car, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So that's where you're going to have your best value. It's one of the things that we offer to our clients is that concierge service to give you recommendations where you're always going to get the most for your money.
So it's a big series, Yankees and Dodgers, and all your ticket needs at ticketbash.com. And check them out, and they'll help you out, get the best seats for the best value that you can this weekend for that amazing series between the Yankees and the Dodgers. That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by ticketbash.com. We're sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Falcone Law Firm, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and Collaborate Studios. Don't forget, tomorrow it's Free Ticket Friday. Vinny says we're changing it up. I don't know what that means. We'll find out tomorrow. Wayne Randazzo is going to join us on the show. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching and listening. Have a great day. We're back tomorrow morning.